happens when you lose your balance and what do you do about it? Sensory integration has a lot to do with keeping it and making it work. And we've got an expert on with us. We've got the community liaison, Karen Russell of Mountain Valley Regional Rehabilitation Hospital. Great to have you on, Karen.
Thank you for having me on.
You always have really good tips for us because I don't care what age you are. Sometimes balance just gets away from you, but it's so important. If you don't have balance, how does it impact your life?
Right, and we're actually finding that balance is starting to affect people as young as in their 30s and 40s. So it's important to challenge your balance because it's a use it or lose it type of system. The other part is in physical fitness, they're starting to use more of the Bosu balls and the balance pads and some of these to start challenging balance. They don't call it that because your younger generation is going to think they don't need it, but in fact they really do.
So you don't mean tightrope walking or anything like that?
No.
But
no.
we do go up ladders. Now I'm always challenging my balance with ladders, and I actually fell down a while back. I was throwing a rug out onto the fence, and I don't know, it just was heavier than I was.
Took you over. Took you with
what
it.
the heck? I'm sitting down there on the ground going, well, that was weird.
Well, and that happens. Sometimes there's certain type of situations that a fall is going to happen and you can't really control the outcome.
But it does help if you have that balance and sensitivity for it and you're aware,
right,
maybe, more of it.
Right. And one of the things that people don't realize is the sensory systems that affect balance and help us control our vertical position in space. And you have three different sensory systems. One is vision. Vision tends to be the more dominant of the systems because it gives you, pretty much overrides everything as far as your spatial orientation. Okay. So vision is really important, and you can see different things as we get older, macular degeneration, cataracts.
Your eyesight is compromised.
Exactly.
As
So
well.
That's going to affect vision, or that's going to affect your balance.
Okay.
Also being in rooms where there's low lighting, shadows, anything that really doesn't give you your full use of your vision is going to affect your balance.
Because sometimes there are steps or
steps in the dark, and
like you never know. So, or is it just those two senses that we really rely on most?
Well,
for
we have vision, and then the next one is what's called somatosensory, and basically that is how your feet feel the floor. Oh. You have receptors in the bottom of your feet that tell your brain your spatial orientation based on those pressure changes. So that will tell your brain you're starting to go forward, sideways, backwards, whatever direction. It signals the brain so you correct it. The more efficient that system is, you start to correct it more quickly, so you have less chance of losing your balance.
Oh,
so,
okay. Now,
yeah.
and if you have diabetes or something, then your feet are not sensitive. So that's
exactly. And in a minute, I'm going to kind of put you in a situation where you'll get an idea of what that's like, where individuals that can't feel the floor, so neuropathies, affect people's balance significantly.
And then I know your ears. Sometimes there's those little liquid balancing things in there that get off, and then that can cause trouble too.
So that's your third sensory system. Nice segue there. Yeah, so your vestibular system, which is your inner ear. So that also gives you spatial orientation. A lot, it kicks in more when your head starts to move. So whether you're looking around or bending over, it will engage that vestibular system saying that your head is moving, so you have to readjust your spatial orientation. So
that is fascinating. Just like those, you see the compasses in the liquid and, you know, on a ship or something, and they have to recalibrate. We have to calibrate too.
Right.
But sometimes that breaks.
And all those systems, they basically integrate together, and what they do is in certain environmental situations, one might come into play more than the other.
Okay, so where do we start then? I mean, we've got all those things, and we talked about some of the medical conditions that can affect them. So then you have to deal with the diabetes or the macular degeneration or the, you know, whatever's going on with your balance system in your ears, your vestibular system too.
So what we do is we try to strengthen those systems that are working well for you. Okay. So I'm going to kind of we're going to get up and I'm going to show you a couple of things. Yeah, we're going to demo and see. So what I'm going to have you do is come out just a little bit from the chair, and I'm going to have you stand, since your balance I'm sure is pretty good, I'm going to have you stand with your feet together.
Yeah, but I have heels on. That's a cheater.
That is a cheater.
It's going to be bad. I mean, in a bad way.
You might tip over more. Now what I'm going to have you do is close your eyes.
Okay.
So when your vision gets compromised and you close your eyes, people will sometimes start to sway a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of like, whoa.
Yeah, okay. And what this does, though, is it also makes people more aware of the pressure under their feet. Again, because vision is more dominant and is going to kind of override everything. When you close your eyes, if you really concentrate on how your feet are feeling the floor, it's going to help reinforce the use of that system.
Good, and you do. I mean, really, I was, you know, the balls of your feet, you kind of feel like you're moving with it. Okay.
Right, and so you don't realize how much it's at a subconscious level that your brain then is getting that feedback on correcting that where your pressure is changing. Yeah.
All right, so you're going to compensate.
Right.
You know, it's like when people lose their vision, then their ears take over more to orient them to the world.
Ear,
so it's
and
the
then
same
this
kind of
system
thing.
would kind of take over a little bit more.
Okay, and so we have 90 seconds. Show me how to do this.
I'm going to have you get up on this foam pad.
Really?
Yeah, with your heels.
Okay.
But I won't make you put your feet together since you've got heels.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah. So this is kind of really, I'm disrupting how your feet feel the floor because you can't really feel it on this squishy foam pad.
Right.
So this gives you an idea of someone with a neuropathy, how this is what it's like for them all the time.
Because they cannot feel their feet in terms of being flat. You can't tell if you're flat or not.
Right. Because they either have numbness or hypersensitivity. Either way, they're not getting that input from that firm floor telling them where their spatial orientation is.
So what do they do?
So we try to reinforce their use of their vision. We try to teach them how to use techniques like dancers do, where they focus on a non-moving target and using that focal point for spatial orientation.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's all, I'm going to step off of this before I fall off. No. I'm not sure. I've got to
That's
work
why I'm
on
always like this when I'm working with people with balance.
Well, Mountain Valley Regional Rehabilitation Hospital, you're in Prescott Valley.
Yes.
And you deal with all of these kinds of things, this physical therapy for whatever age, whatever situation, whether it was an accident, whether you're sensory, you know, you're losing some of this sensory integration.
Right.
All that is worked on so that you can counterbalance, so to speak.
Exactly, yeah. So whether it be a stroke or, you know, a lot of different MS, Parkinson's, definitely are going to have some, you know, problems with balance. And with a stroke, sometimes those sensory systems are affected. So again, we want to work on balance as the body as a whole.
But a great place to go and find out, no matter what, you know, to get that balance, because you really need your balance. If you're going to be on your feet, you've got to have balance, because it's very serious when you lose that.
Well, my philosophy when I'm out in the community really doing fall prevention is we're there if you need us, but we don't want you to need us.
I love it. Karen Russell, thank you. Mountain Valley Regional Rehabilitation Hospital in Prescott Valley. Wow, great tips. We're going to have to practice, so be careful. Watch out for the ladders and stuff. But okay, don't go away. We're going to have more coming up right on the Arizona Daily Mix.